Rochester has been on a path of innovation, growth, and opportunity. Despite the decades-long decline of corporate titans like Kodak, Bausch & Lomb, and Xerox, Rochester has redefined itself as a thriving city of entrepreneurs and successful small companies. So much so that MIT Economics called Rochester the #1 city for growth and tech investments. Since 2018, the city has provided record funding, job training, and startup assistance to hundreds of small businesses and workers. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been poured into city neighborhoods and its infrastructure, as well as millions in private construction in Rochester, employing tens of thousands of people. The number of and the amount of dollars earned by minority and women-owned businesses had significantly increased.
We've done extraordinary work in the last 7 years with all the investments that we've made.
The momentum was unparalleled. Then the COVID-19 pandemic brought progress to a halt. Families lost their jobs, and business struggled to keep its doors open.
We will always remember this tragic episode that we had because it was difficult to close and to tell the workers, you have to go and collect, and we don't know whether we're going to be able to have you guys back. I mean, it was that uncertain. We were moving in the dark.
There's never been anything like this, never. This is a one time in 5 lifetimes. Was there a chance of me closing? We were very close because we're down almost 6 months. I've got to pay my rent, my insurances, my workman's comp. Everything gets paid and you have no income.
We realized very quickly that we had to make a positive difference. So we had 3 goals. Number 1 was to find out what businesses needed the most. Number 2 is generate a program as quickly as possible. Number 3, get the funds out the door to help these businesses and their needs as soon as possible.
The city's Neighborhood and Business Development Division kicked into overdrive, creating the Emergency Retention Grant, providing $1.2 million in assistance to over 700 local businesses.
In a normal year, we'll help 50 businesses, 50 applications. In 10 months, we've received close to 1,000 applications, which is the equivalent of over 19 years of work for our division. We were able to help these businesses pay their unpaid rent, unpaid utilities, unpaid insurance, and other costs that they normally could not pay for.
Without the city, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
This was a first for us, to request outside money. But in the way that the whole process was facilitated, it wasn't a handout. It made me feel that we were into this all together and that they were willing, to go that route in order to help small businesses like us to survive.
It's such a good feeling that we made a positive difference. It was a tough time. I have a stack of thank yous. All right, just give me a second.
But the COVID-19 crisis exposed a persistent problem that dogged the community since its inception: the wide gap between the wealthy and the working poor, particularly along racial and gender lines.
We all experiencing the coronavirus and COVID-19 the same, but how it hits each of our home, how it hits each of us individually is very, very different.
It's going to have a significant disparate impact upon people of color. And it's due to occupation as well as industry. When we look at the service industry in particular, you'll have a higher concentration of blacks and Hispanics in those occupations. And so when you have conventions being canceled, then you're talking about people being put on furlough or unemployment.
But if you have 401k, if you have savings, if you have all those other things, then you may be able to come out of the other side of this very different than someone that's living paycheck to paycheck.
Many of the working poor are those on the front lines of the pandemic. While healthcare workers like doctors and nurses are well respected and well compensated, critical health providers such as certified nursing assistants and home health aides remain overlooked and underpaid.
I started out with $9.50 an hour. I had a car payment, I had rent, I had car insurance that I had to pay, and I was not able to make ends meet.
As part of Mayor Warren's equity and recovery agenda, she plans to work with healthcare advocates, local unions, and the Rochester Monroe Anti-Poverty Initiative to fight for state legislation that would increase the minimum wage for health aide and nursing assistant positions to $15 an hour.
Right now, home health care aides are making less than those that are working in the fast food industry. They're working 2 and 3 jobs to try and make ends meet for their families.
The University of Rochester and Rochester Regional Health have recognized this disparity and committed to raising the minimum wage for its employees to $15 an hour, a move Mayor Warren sees as a major sign of progress and is committed to continuing the fight for pay equity.
There are going to be more people that will be apt to join the field and alleviate some of the pressure on long-term care.
City investments and construction projects are cropping up across Rochester. The ERA agenda ensures that the people designing and building the infrastructure reflect Rochester's diverse community. Lenora Page owns Flower City Monitor Services, a MWBE certified business.
MWBE stands for Minority Women-Owned Business Enterprises, and it's a program to help minority businesses, women businesses, get a foot in the door with a lot of work that's going on, whether it's construction or technology.
Since 2018, Rochester has increased its contracts awarded to women and minority-owned businesses by 300%. As part of the ERA agenda, Mayor Warren is seeking to raise the bar again so that even more contractors and suppliers will hire these often overlooked businesses.
I think it is a good thing to raise the bar again. I think it will add more MWBEs to the program. It'll add more diversity. It'll add to the community as well. Helping in the community is being able to have gainful employment. And gainful employment means that you are able to support your family and yourself, not just make a minimum living, but be able to purchase a home, purchase a car.
The agenda also encourages union trades and union contractors to set aside a fixed number of apprenticeship opportunities for city residents who are Black and brown, woman, and non-binary. The city's Office of Community Wealth Building helps traditionally disadvantaged populations achieve economic security by offering assistance with personal financial planning, workforce development, and small business resources.
Because if you don't know better, you can't do better. Right now, we're helping hundreds of people repair their credit so they can buy a house, so they can take care of their family, so they can build equity. We're helping people that want to start their own business, those that are in business, grow their business, those that are in challenged neighborhoods, look at their neighborhood different and bring resources into their own community.
Rochester's Environmental Job Training Program, REJOB, has a 100% success rate in placing its graduates in professional environmental construction jobs. Breasia Griffin was one of them.
It gave me a career. At the time, I didn't know where I was going, so it gave me a path to follow and to pursue, and it just helped me with guidance because I didn't have that at the time.
The priorities of the ERA agenda are far-reaching, from the mom and pop neighborhood store to Rochester's commercial corridors, creating more job opportunities for families and building a community whose residents can be proud of.
Over $100 million of investment happening right now in the most challenged part of the city on purpose. People are working on purpose. The neighborhood sees we may be in a pandemic, but we haven't forgotten about you. Right now, along the riverfront, millions of dollars of investment happening on purpose because the community needs to see that, listen, we don't plan to be worse off on the other side of this. We plan to be able to hit the ground running and never look back. And never look back.
The Equity and Recovery Agenda is a blueprint to finally reconcile the Rochester community after centuries of inequity and distrust. Building the Rochester economy by leveraging city investments and infrastructure to create jobs is fundamental to the building of an equitable workforce and uplifting the community and the families within it. The ERA agenda looks to address all the critical issues which are facing Rochester, and will explore more as the State of the City video series continues right here.